All right, so Boneyard is a chilling new thriller crime story based on true events. Can you tell us a bit about your character, Tate, as his role in the story?
Sure. He's sort of a wild card. I would say that he's definitely one would call a loose cannon. One of the things is, here's a guy who's obviously had some tough luck that is his own doing, that he's done, I would say was sort of self-inflicted, if you will. But I think there is a side of humanity that starts to kind of transition, and not that he's looking for sympathy, but he's definitely someone who you could presume would be a prime suspect and possibly involved with something that is pretty sinister after all the additional plot points unfold, I should say.
Right. Now, this film explores a complex investigation with multiple agencies involved. How did you approach portraying Tate's perspective amidst this clash of egos and methods?
So, um, so I listen. I think that, and that's a good question. I would say that and just for starters, it was just we all for the first few days we were getting settled. It was rehearsal. We just rehearsed. We just did the scenes and did them, and subsequently just one after the other. And then once we got on set, we would just go over them. I would say, some of the more private work, I was trying to sort of, which was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of was really wanting to sink my teeth into this guy in particular, is because these are things that I would never even, if I dreamt about them, I'd probably wake up and apologize. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where I was trying to personalize with a lot of these nuances and traits that he's got going, and so it definitely was something that I would say, more than not, was uncomfortable with, kind of just reading him, some of the subtext of, because look, this is a person who I don't think he really was necessarily, or was ever really sorry while he's kind of in the moment, doing certain things. But once things start to really kind of, he's aware of how serious and the severity of the certain situation is, certain situations are. That's when I think there's a transformative kind of, oh shit moment, kind of, So, if that makes any sense. But
So, Boneyard is inspired, of course, by true crime. Did you draw inspiration from any specific cases or detectives in your preparation for the role?
um, you know what? What's interesting is that I did, aside from the title page of the script, where it says, based on, or true, based on true story, actual events, what have you. I didn't really know much of anything about the case at all, actually. And then I went ahead to Google, but and I looked up what pretty much everyone else sees, but it really wasn't giving me sort of the bells and whistles of sort of the, what was the meat on the bone story. And that came from Vince, who was, I don't know if you had a chance to speak to him, but he producer, co-writer, and he's got a plethora of information about all this stuff. So but no, I would say just kind of focusing on sort of John Tate's world, and kind of who he sort of just what he really wanted, sort of what the reasoning for doing what he was doing, and sort of the obstacles in his way, I would say, if that makes any sense. So